little bit behind. I'm sitting there trying to do some stuff behind the scenes. Let me make sure my audio's good. All right. First of all, person who just texted me, what you will not do. All right. What it do, what it do. Welcome, welcome, welcome. It is the first day of a new month, and I like days like this. I like new weeks, I like new months, I like new years, that kind of thing, because it gives you a chance to look at where you are in life and just go through some stuff. And I like it. I like it, I like it, I like it. All right, let me get myself together because my life is all over the place. First of all, thank y'all for joining me. Thank y'all for joining me for another edition of the CM show. Let me do a few things. I was trying to take care of a few things. Y'all don't even understand, I think, how difficult this show can be. And I know y'all don't give a damn because I know I wouldn't. It's like, shit, I don't care how hard it is. Just do what you do. You the one invited us. Have your shit together. You ever went to a party and somebody's like, don't have their shit together, make you feel bad because they don't have their shit together? Yeah, that's me. In fact, because I just heard how I was talking. Let me do this first and foremost. Let me do this. Uh-oh. All right, so y'all can hear me here, right? But let me, oh shit, see here. All right, let's try that again. This is an adult show. I do have a little bit of a potty mouth, and we do talk about some adult stuff at times, right? So let me turn that down. So I just want to make sure that this is working. Um, so yeah, this is an adult show. Um, we do talk about adult topics, and as they say, we may use some colorful language. I ain't gonna say we. I will use some colorful language. So I just wanted to let everybody know that, hey, if that's not your thing, if you're not necessarily a big fan of that, then hey, this may not be the show for you. So I always want to put that out there. Also, one of the things that I do want to let people know is that this is not a dating show. I am not a dating coach. I'm not a relationship coach. The way my relationships are set up, I need to be listening to my own damn advice, or that's what I was told. So, therefore, I am just saying to you, what we do here is we have conversations. That's why this is the CM show, and I always say, like, yo, we have conversations with each other, and what we do is we just talk. This is also therapy for me, because as I'm going through the stuff that I go through on a day-to-day basis, being able to interact with y'all, just listen to some of the things that you say in the chat, and for those of y'all that jump on the onto the calls, that also helps me as well because it allows me to listen to a different point of view. And sometimes some of the things that y'all say makes me realize that, oh, you know what? That's a different way of thinking of things. So I appreciate this, but again, this is not a dating show at all. Okay? This is not a dating show. So, and better yet, this is a relationship. How can I say this? This ain't a. Y'all help me out. What can we call this? Because this ain't no dating show, and I'm not a dating coach or relationship coach. I'm just a dude that's here trying to let y'all know, like, yo, this relationship shit. Sometimes it'll get on your damn nerves, and I am the dude that's been through quite a few of them that can actually tell y'all that. If you haven't already done so, please, 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 please. Hit the subscribe button. I am so close to my goal of 1,000 subscribers. I need y'all. If you haven't already subscribed to my channel, hit that button. In fact, I'm going to do this thing one more again because I actually like it. All right. Hit that subscribe button. And if you haven't already done so, hit the like button as well, please. All right. Without further ado, let's get into the show. Let's get into it. So, shout out to my man Gerald for helping me come up with this topic, right? He and I, we were conversing via text. And we were just, talking about some stuff. And I was like, yo, what do you think? No, actually, no, he gave me the idea. And I was like, oh, shit, I like it. And then I started thinking about it. For my fans of Ready to Love, right? Ready to Love is a TV show that comes on Well, actually, this past season has ended, but the show itself, and if you haven't already done so as well, oh shit, there we go. So one character in particular, one cast member, I don't want to call him a character, one so there was one cast member in particular by the name of Randall. And there was one scene where the young lady that he was interested in by the name of Jamala. Okay, the red we got today, Artie Blitz. Anyway, it's actually my favorite besides the red. Um, she was upset with Randall because he hadn't made a choice as far as which one of the women he was going to choose to ride off into the sunset with. And as Randall was talking to his, it was his brother, maybe been Tommy, I can't remember which one, but what he said was how Jamala acted when they were at a mansion, like a getaway type situation with a whole bunch of other people. It was a trigger for him that took him back to his previous relationships. What up, Lorenzo? Thank you for joining the conversation, my friend. Thank you. Also, I need to talk to you tomorrow. I need to talk to you tomorrow because remember, I'm gonna reach out to you. So definitely want you to let's see, know that. Also, Cheryl, what up, babe? Thank you for joining the conversation. Oh, that's my computer lagging. Ooh, I think I got too much shit open. Sorry, y'all. Let me get back on point, but my computer's kind of dragging. There we go. All right, let's close. I'm gonna need that open too. And last but not least, let's close this. My bad, y'all. Give me 1 second. So sorry. I am here, but if I don't fix this, then we are going to have issues for the evening. So bear with you, boy. Bear with me. Bear with me. One more click, and we're good to go. All right. I appreciate y'all's patience as we deal with that particular issue. All right. So that's interesting. I've got to sneeze too. Oh snap! All right, I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. So one of the things that with Randall, her behavior was a trigger for him because it took him back to where he was in his past. Now, y'all, I haven't really went into detail about my private life. I try to keep that a little bit, even though this is a show and I do let y'all in to some of the things I have going on, but I try to keep that to a minimum. One of the things that I know that I have went through or that I deal with it just like anybody else is that I have my triggers as well when it comes to how I move within a relationship. And I also know that I am definitely can be triggering because think about it. I am a handsome, chocolate, Aries, Jamaican, bald-headed man. I am. God knew what he was doing when he didn't make me over 6 feet because God helped every last one of y'all women out there. He did y'all a favor because if God had made me over 6 feet, y'all probably be pregnant now. I'm just saying, you get some. But anyway, God knew what he was doing. So all I'm saying is I know that I can be triggering. And I know that there are things that I definitely needed to work on in my past and need to continue to work on even right now. So definitely, there are always things that we can do. I'm just saying, Nia, you laughing, but I'm being real with you. I'm helping y'all out. Y'all just don't know how lucky you are. My God. Because I'm just saying, if that had been the case, whoo, Jesus. It's a lot of haters out there too. I don't think I appreciate y'all right now because you know what? I'm gonna stay on track. Y'all some haters anyway. God did y'all a favor and y'all don't even want to recognize it for what it is. So let's dig into this a little bit. A trigger isn't always a good thing, isn't always a bad thing, but more than likely it's not, right? So let's watch this. I swear to God, I have way too many things going right now.
So as soon as you do something that appears triggering to me, you're going to see me lash out in anger
In fact,
or
let me start this over. Sorry.
struggle with regulating my own emotions. So as soon as you do something that appears triggering to me, you're going to see me lash out in anger or stonewall you with my silence. How fun for me. Are those really the only two options? They're the only two I know how to do. How come? I grew up with one absent parent and another who barely had the time to even see me, which left me feeling not good enough and constantly in survival mode. What's that like? Every time I get triggered, I'm sent right back to those moments from my childhood where I didn't feel safe. So I feel like acting this way is the only way to protect myself because it feels like there's a real threat to my safety. But you are safe with me. You are safe here. Maybe true, but this is such a strong muscle in me. So I struggle to differentiate between perception and reality. So to me, my triggers don't feel like triggers. They feel like reality, like there's a real threat there, even though there probably isn't. That's tough. I had no idea. Makes sense that emotional regulation would be so difficult for you.
One of the main takeaways from that is that a trigger will always take you back to your past. It's not necessarily a situation that, of course, you're going to be angry. Of course, you're going to be upset. Of course, you're going to be a lot of things. But the worst thing about a trigger is that it transports you back to a time where you were in the most pain, the most vulnerable, and nobody likes to be in that feeling. Nobody likes to be in that situation. That's what people. That's what hurts the most about being triggered, right? And and one thing I'm not gonna do. I know that this is a pretty interesting topic, right? It's not the most positive topic. Ain't no ifs, ands, or buts about that. But one thing we don't do on this particular show is that we don't. Okay, that's not right. Hold on 1 second. There we go. Why is that not working right? Wait a minute. One thing that we don't do on this show is that even though we talk about some stuff, right? We talk about some tough topics. We talk about some tough things. But what we don't do is that we don't necessarily bog ourselves down in negativity. What we do is we address these issues and then we talk about them. And you are exactly right. One thing I won't do though, even though, I guess if y'all are pregnant, y'all gonna have some babies. How can we do the do but not have the kids? Anyway, you know what? Either way it goes, we ain't got to think about it because God knew what he was doing. It didn't make me over 6 feet. So, but you're right though. We do not need nobody else running around, especially the state of Georgia, talking about that. So you're exactly right. Let's get back into it. So, but like I said, a trigger isn't necessarily a bad thing because sometimes what a trigger can do is a trigger will allow your partner to open up and to start. One of the things that I pride myself on, right? I don't even say pride, is knowing how to push certain buttons. And I'm not saying that not a bad button, not trying to pick a fight or no bullshit like that. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is knowing how to get things going, as it were, right? You know what I'm saying? So that's another aspect of triggering behavior or something triggering that I've learned in my past. Let me do this real quick. Hold on. Oh, my stuff's all over the place. I cannot believe
Good morning. Happy Sunday, y'all. I wanted to make a video about this idea that you need to be fully healed before you enter a relationship. The saying is you need to learn how to love yourself before someone else loves you. I agree to a certain extent, but I also disagree. Do I think it's important to put in a ton of work to figure out things within yourself and heal things like people-pleasing tendencies and lack of boundaries? Yes, of course. Do I think it's important to know your worth? Yeah. But do I think you have to have every single thing figured out before you enter a relationship? No. Did I have every single thing figured out and was I fully healed when I entered my relationship with Derek? Fuck no. There are certain things that you don't even know you need to heal until you enter a healthy relationship, such as triggers that pop up that you didn't even know were in you. And you become aware of those and you pinpoint them and you work through them. And I think that having a partner who creates emotional safety for you is very healing. I also think that having a partner who values you can also teach you to value yourself. Am I saying live off of external validation? No. Do I think it's okay for your partner to help you heal? Yes. Everyone makes it seem like taboo when it's not.
So the reason why I wanted to talk about that is I was having a conversation, even though I wasn't able to really dig into it. She and I were talking via Messenger. And when I saw that TikTok, I was like, oh, that is kind of sort of what we were talking about. I didn't get a chance to send it to her, and I will. But one of the things that she said in the conversation, not to divulge too much of that, was if you stay ready, you got to get ready. Because what I was conveying to her was the amount of therapy that I've been through in order to get ready, or not get ready, but to be where I am now isn't necessarily what I was doing to be ready in the past. So now that I've gotten to that point, it kind of like what the last lady in the TikTok was saying, was that you don't necessarily have to be perfect. And I think that a lot of times we feel like we have to have everything buttoned down before we can get into a relationship, and that's not necessarily the case. We do need to do work, and that's one of the things that I want to talk about when I drop the link. In fact, I might as well drop it now. What are your triggers? What are the things that bother you, that not necessarily bother you, but when it comes to your relationships, when it comes to the things that you are dealing with, tantric sex, where the hell did that come from? Wait a minute, what? Did I miss something? Wait a minute, did I miss something? I must have missed something. What? Cheryl, ma'am. You know what? It don't take a lot to throw me off sometimes, but that right there kind of got me. Okay, let's go. Let's do that. Wow. All right. So I just dropped the link to the Zoom chat. My notes are a little all over the place here. But let's talk about this as well. I'm dropping a bunch of different things in here because I want us to kind of dig in a second. All right. Usually what I like to do is I like to define the terms of the things that y'all keep sending me silly ass texts. I'm sorry. Anyway, one of the things that I definitely this book right here that agreement not to take anything personally has helped me to deal with a lot of the things that usually were triggering for me, but instead I've been able to work through them. One of the things as well that I still cannot understand where the hell that tantric sex came from. Somebody, did I miss something as far as where that came from? It is a very powerful book. Thank you. It is, even though the 4 agreements in and of itself are powerful, right? That second agreement Y'all, that right there, the other day I got into a disagreement, an argument, a kerfuffle with someone. And we were exchanging words and things were being said. And after it was all said and done, I sat and thought about it. And then that agreement came into my mind, and I listened to that chapter again, that passage from the book. And I realized that I took everything that person was saying to me, I took it to heart. And therefore, me doing that validated everything that person was saying. Now, don't get me wrong. Were there some truths to what they were saying? Sure. Yes. Were there things that I could improve on, do this, do that? Of course. Yes. However, the feeling that I had after the fact was something that I could have avoided if I had listened to, or if that second agreement had popped into my mind and came through. Okay? There's certain things, and I appreciate, the fact that Nia knew about that book, because there's certain books that will help you to deal with triggers. There's certain books that will help you to deal with people that are trying to throw emotional stuff your way. And if you're able to deal with that, if you are able to deal with the triggers that you have within you, it'll make your life so much better. Not just from a relationship standpoint, but just from an emotional health standpoint. Hold on. Why is this piece of shit? There we go.
If you're wondering why your partner is triggering you so much, it's because your trauma and their trauma are doing a particular dance together. What happens in relationships is that our trauma and the ways that we have devised over the years, and especially in childhood, to protect ourselves from our trauma, meaning avoiding or becoming more aggressive or needing more attention, those ways of protecting ourselves trigger the trauma of our partner. Now they respond to their trauma with their own protective strategies, and those protective strategies trigger our trauma. And we react with our protective strategies, which trigger their trauma. And they react with their protective strategy, which trigger our trauma. And on it goes.
And on it goes. It's like a never-ending cycle. Their trauma triggers your trauma, your trauma then triggers theirs, and then it goes on and on and on. The name of the book, for the person that just hit me up, the name of the book is The 4 Agreements. I am trying to find, I usually have these things up and running, but for whatever reason, I do not. And I know one thing I didn't do is I dropped the Zoom link, but it would help if I had the Zoom set up and ready to go. I swear to God, I never have it ready. But yeah, the name of the book is called The 4 Agreements. I'm trying to find it now so I can drop that in here, but it's easier said than done. Don't take anything personally is the second of the 4 agreements, right? Here we go. The first agreement, come on. Oh my goodness. You know what? I hate black people sometimes. I swear to God I do. Anyway. The first agreement is be impeccable with your word. The second is don't take anything personally. The third is don't make assumptions. And the fourth is always do your best. The premise of the book is we make agreements both internally and externally. And once you have those 4 agreements under control, in other words, once you make those 4 agreements especially with yourself, but with everyone else, as I said, externally, that's when you'll be able to live a life free of a lot of the drama that we tend to find ourselves caught up in. So again, the first is be impeccable with your word. The second is don't take anything personally. The third is don't make assumptions. And the fourth is always do your best. All right, I am trying to set the Zoom up because what I want to know from y'all is this. What are some of your triggers? Okay? As always, with the Zoom, please make sure that you know, and also with the StreamYard, but with the Zoom, please make sure that your audio is connected and your camera's on. Okay? Make sure that I can see you. Now, if you do not want to be seen by, you know, on the show, that's fine. Just let me know, and then we can do it privately, and then everyone can hear you. But I definitely just need to see you, okay? If you definitely don't want your name to be shown, to be said, just let me know as well to make sure that, you know, I call you Jane Doe or John Doe, that kind of thing as well. Hold on one second. Let me do this real quick, please, and thank you. Because I'm not sure if this thing's working or not. All right. There we go. Okay, now. I believe I didn't have that set up. I swear. Goodness, here we go. Let's go to the chat. Let's see. Nia, she says, yes, The Four Agreements is one of my favorites. It is a very powerful book. It really is. Another book that's a favorite of mine is The Secrets of the Millionaire Mind. That book is always, the first time I read it, that thing just changed my life, because it's like how you look at yourself, how you perceive yourself from both a wealthy standpoint and a poor standpoint. And that's not speaking from a monetary aspect either. It's how you look at things, because a lot of people, especially when it comes to relationships, sometimes what we do is we feel that we undervalue ourselves, or we overvalue the other people. So it's kind of like you pedestalize people, if that makes sense. So Cheryl says, let's see, if we live in, what the hell is that? If we live in a victim mentality society, it's difficult for people who do the work to see it manifest until they meet emotionally intelligent people. Emotionally intelligent people. Man, that is some powerful stuff right there. Let's see. Nia, I'm so sorry, I'm saying Nia. Ooh, speaking of Nia. Speaking of Nia. Anyway, one of my triggers is unreliable people. Man, when I can't depend on people, or if someone has given me their word to do something. Nia, first of all, for you to be Rich Dad, Poor Dad, that is a powerful book too. A second ago, I was speaking about how God, the greater power, Allah, Buddha, the list goes on and on, right? We were talking, what I said was, one second. What I said was, he made it a point, right? He made it a point to not give me height, because if I was just a little bit taller, then God, Lord knows, things would have been different. The conversation tonight is we're talking about trigger warnings, right? And there's certain things that trigger me and get me going, okay? And one of the... But anyway, so let's talk about this real quick. You said something, one of your triggers is trust, right? Because what that boils down to me, what you're saying is one of my triggers is unreliable people. When I can't depend on people, or someone has given me their word to do something. One of the things that I've spoken about for a while is that to me is so powerful, because that is something I know for me, that there are only certain people I like to hang with. Because if I say I'm going to do something, it actually bothers me when I don't deliver on what I say I'm going to do. Now, don't get me wrong. There are times that, especially recently, that there are things that I said that I was going to do, or give my word that I was going to do, and I've realized that, you know what, it's not necessarily healthy emotionally, financially, physically, however you want to put it, for me to continue through. And just because I said I was going to do it doesn't necessarily mean that I am going to follow it through to the end. There are going to be some times where you realize, you know what, this isn't necessarily a healthy path for me to continue on. Even though you gave your word and said, yeah, I'm going to do it, that doesn't necessarily mean that you need to go down there just because you said, you know, you were. So let's talk about trigger warnings. Y'all see the abuse that is coming across the screen, do you not? That right there, ladies and gentlemen, is a prime example of a triggering statement. Here I am, sharing with y'all one of the things that, I wouldn't say it's a trigger, but you know, it's like, you know what, I hate that I'm only 5'4". So therefore I'm 5'4", and that kind of bothers me. And then instead of people saying, hey, you'll be okay, Chris, you'll be all right, you have people that abuse me like this. Ladies and gentlemen, I want you to read what's on the screen there. And boo that man. That is just terrible. Absolutely terrible. God damn. You have short man syndrome? Ladies and gentlemen, the triggering that y'all are doing, this is some hurtful language that y'all are dropping on your boy tonight. What is wrong with y'all? Nia, she says, yes, I don't trust them after they prove to be unreliable. But let me ask you this, though. Because I definitely understand where you're coming from. And one thing I had to do as well, because I personally don't like people that say they're going to do something and don't follow through. But one thing I had to stop and look at, I'm like, yo, was I setting unrealistic metrics for them to meet? Or was I giving them everything that they needed in order to do it, and then they in turn weren't able to deliver on what it was I was asking? So I want to ask you that, Nia, because I definitely understand, because unreliable people is definitely a trigger for me, because I know, okay, if I'm going to be there for you, why is it that you can't be there for me? That's something I definitely want to look at in my particular life as well. Let's see. Cheryl says, write a book called The Three-Legged Relationship. Y'all not gonna lie, it has been very difficult for me to tap into my creative. This year in particular, it's been very difficult. That's why this third book of mine is kind of just languishing, because I haven't been able to. The way I write is I get an idea and then it just starts to flow. I haven't been able to get those ideas in flow, but I do want to write that book though. It's probably gonna be very long, but yeah. So talk to me, Nia. I want to know, what's the yes, what's the no? What's the yes and what's the no? Let's see who else, and y'all, who else has dropped their let's see, Cheryl, she says that her trigger. Oh shit, Cheryl says one of her biggest triggers is being called a white girl. Now that, explain that to me, ma'am. Why explain that to me, please. Why is that a trigger, being called a white girl? God. I get on my goddamn nerves. Oh shit. Hey, Lorenzo, I appreciate the security, sir. While I got you though, in fact, you know I normally do this at the very end. You have length for you to make for your shortcuts. I wish I did. That's the problem. I'm short everywhere. Oh God. Real quick. Well, Lorenzo just reminded me. So a couple shows ago, we started. I don't know, some kind of way we got onto the conversation of kinks versus kinky. Now, even though October was National Kink Month, we're still gonna have that conversation. So. All right. Anyway, sorry about that. That's what we're going to be talking about next week. That's next week's conversation. Again, this is an adult show, so I'm just saying. All right, Neil, let's see what you got. You said, so in a past relationship, I did give him too much trust after being let down a few times by him, but eventually I broke it off. Nia, I really want to talk to you about this, because I think that what you're saying is kind of is resonating with me. All right, sure. Let's see. Because there's so many questions I want to ask you and dig into that. So I just dropped the Zoom link. Again, if you don't want your face to be shown, that's fine. But we can definitely. I do want to have. I want to talk to you about that. I really do. Cheryl, you said I am a black woman, my sister, who speaks well. Okay, because of how I was raised. Went to predominantly white schools. It was always the few black people that called me a white girl because I didn't speak like them. How are they speaking? With Ebonics? But I think I feel where you're coming from. I think that we do ourselves such a disservice that when we speak quote unquote proper English, and I say quote unquote because let me put it this way: American English. because in Jamaica it's a whole different ball game. So, and just in Europe as well. So if you don't speak American English, then as a black person you can get, what's a good word, castigated for speaking properly, and that is about as unfortunate a thing as it gets. It is one of the things that I've never understood that we do to each other. I say no because I have a friend who offered. Oh my God, don't you just hate that bullshit there? Nia says, I say no because I have a friend who offered to do some things for me around the house, yet he reneged on the project. One of the... find the right way of saying this. There are a few people that you can count on, right? And there are a few people whose word you can take to the bank. And there is nothing more annoying for me, and I feel you on this one, Nia, when somebody says they're going to do something and they don't follow up on what they say they're going to do. That is definitely a trigger for me. Now, I'm going to take it back a little bit and try and bring, it's like if you don't want to do something, don't offer to do it. That shit right there, it's like, yo, don't offer. Don't. It's like it's not that damn hard. Don't offer. If you say you're gonna do something, damn it, do it. If not, say no so I can find somebody else who can. So now here it is. Oh my God, shit, that's a trigger for real right there. All right. So let's go. I want to go back a little bit because what you just said triggered a thought as well. So let me find the right notes for that. Here we go. Man, this thing is slow. Oh my God, this thing is slow. This is what I was looking for. 8 major triggers of relationship conflict, all right? Conflict arises when a partner is, and y'all let me know if you agree with any of these. Conflict arises when a partner is unfaithful, possessive, jealous, or dependent. Now, for my Ready to Love fans, do you agree or disagree that right there applies to Jamala? Another major trigger of relationship conflict is neglecting, rejecting, or unreliable. Nia, is that what you're talking about right there? Neglecting, rejecting, or unreliable. Another major trigger of relationship conflict is condescending or inconsiderate. That's one for me. I cannot stand being patronized. I cannot stand when somebody talks to me condescendingly. I can't stand that shit. Because it's like, yo, oh, I can't stand that one. Yeah, that's a trigger. Number 8, physically self-absorbed. Am I physically self-absorbed? Am I physically self-absorbed? I know I'm arrogant as hell, but I'm not physically. Anyway, let's see. Moody. Shit. Y'all, that's me right there. I ain't gonna lie. I had to pop up out of that one. Whew, that shit was. What you mean, yes? Yeah. That one kind of punched me in the mouth right there. All right, let me go back. Sexually withholding or rejecting. And quick to sexualize others. Y'all ain't gonna lie, I didn't quite understand that last one. Quick to sexualize others. I'm a little bit of a perv. I'm a bit of a flirt. So I that one right there. So anyway, let's go back over them. The 8 major triggers of relationship conflicts. Conflict arises when a partner is unfaithful, possessive, jealous, or dependent, neglecting, rejecting, or unreliable, condescending or inconsiderate, physically self-absorbed, moody, sexually withholding or rejecting. I know I've been guilty of that. That's definitely one I've been guilty of. Let me ask y'all this differently. Which one of these lists, on this list, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, or 8, y'all just drop that number in the chat, that you know that you personally have been guilty of. Which one of these 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, which one of those have you, that you know, just looking at yourself right here, right now, that you're guilty of? Number 1 is unfaithful. Number 2 is possessive, jealous, or dependent. Number 3 is neglecting, rejecting, or unreliable. Number 4, condescending or inconsiderate. Number 5, physically self-absorbed. I don't even understand what the hell that is. Number 6 is moody. Number 6 is moody. Number 7 is sexually withholding or rejecting. And number 8 is quick to sexualize others. You know what? Shit, let me put 7. God damn. So Nia says she is 4 and 6. Cheryl says she's the whole damn. I'm sorry, she's 1, 3, 5. All right, so I personally say that I am 6 and 7. 6 is moody. 7 is sexually withholding or rejecting. I have definitely done that. And I definitely can be moody at times. Definitely that. Nia says she is 4 and 6. 4 is condescending or inconsiderate. How dare you? And number 6 is moody. Cheryl says she's the whole damn thing. Cheryl says she is 1, unfaithful. 3, neglecting, rejecting, or unreliable. You're unreliable, Cheryl? Oh my God. Number 5 is physically self-absorbed. And number 7 is sexually withholding or rejecting. Yikes. I'm moody. Well, wait a minute. Whoa. Nia. Talking to you directly, Nia. All right, I'm sorry. Okay, I was about to say, wait a minute. How you don't like unreliable people and you, but I miscounted. You said number 4. I'm a Cancer, says Leo. So, ooh. You're a Leo or a Cancer? Because y'all Leos, man. Let me just kick you out of the chat right now. Ugh. Anyway, let's get back into it. Looking at that slick mouth. Cancer, but I'm on the last day. Okay, I got you. Yeesh. Aries, boy. Thank God we are the best. Jesus. Y'all Leos are ridiculous, man. Absolutely ridiculous. Let's. Ugh. I wanted to go back to that one TikTok in particular because there was something that
Good morning. Happy Sunday, y'all. I wanted to make a video about this idea that you need to be fully healed before you enter a relationship. The saying is you need to learn how to love yourself before someone else loves you. I agree to a certain extent, but I also disagree. Do I think it's important to put in a ton of work to figure out things within yourself and heal things like people-pleasing tendencies and lack of boundaries? Yes, of course. Do I think it's important to know your worth? Yeah. But do I think you have to have every single thing figured out before you enter a relationship? No. Did I have every single thing figured out and was I fully healed when I entered my relationship with Derek? Fuck no. There are certain things that you don't even know you need to heal until you enter a healthy relationship, such as triggers that pop up that you didn't even know were in you. And you become aware of those and you pinpoint them and you work through them. And I think that having a partner who creates emotional safety for you is very healing. I also think that having a partner who values you can also teach you to value yourself. Am I saying live off of external validation? No. Do I think it's okay for your partner to help you heal? Yes. Everyone makes it seem like taboo when it's not.
The reason why I wanted to watch that is one of the things that I talk about constantly, both in my reviews, both on this show, but just in relationships in general, is therapy, right? I know personally I went through a lot of, and still am. In fact, I got a damn appointment on Friday, in fact, for in order to deal with my shit. However, you don't have to be perfect or have all of your shit, all of your stuff, all of your traumas, all of your triggers, every goddamn thing ironed up, buttoned up before you enter into a relationship. And I think that that's something that I have gotten confused. And I'm gonna wrap this up, but I wanted just to share that. And that's one reason why I went back to that TikTok, because it kind of touched me when she said that. Because I know a lot of times I think that what she said about your value. I know I am a people pleaser. That's something I have been, especially in relationships, and that's something I'm working on. You know, to a point, it's okay for you to want to please your partner, but you also have to be strong enough to value yourself in order to please yourself, right? So that's definitely something that I have put into work on in order to be a better version of myself, right? Some things do need to be addressed. You're exactly right, though. Ain't no lie about that. There's no lie about that. And that's why I'm a firm believer. You got to go to damn therapy. You've got to. I mean, especially, you know, as you get older and you've been through some rough relationships, or you've put your partner through some shit, you've got to address your shit. You've got to, like Miss Creative said, you've got to address your shit. You've got to. You cannot expect to be in a happy, healthy, fulfilling relationship when you aren't a happy person. Happiness comes from within. And if you aren't a happy person, if you got that bullshit on the inside and you haven't addressed it, then you're just going to have bullshit relationships, and you're going to end up wasting your time, wasting their time. And what you're going to do then is cause that person to go into their next relationship with a whole bunch of triggers because of the shit that you put them through. So I wholeheartedly agree with that. You've got to address your shit. And then at the same time, like Nia said here, you got to learn how to set boundaries, for damn sure. You have got to put in the work, but you also don't have to be perfect. And I think that what happens so many times is that based on whatever triggers come up, whatever happens, is that we sometimes don't want to want two things. We don't want to leave one relationship because you think that there are going to be issues and, you know, oh God, let me just stay here because honestly it's comfortable. Or if you're single, you may be like, well, I don't want to get into another relationship because I remember way back when I did this or they did that, and I need to be healed of that. You can't necessarily fix everything, but you can be a work in progress. And you have, as long as you recognize what your flaws are, you recognize what your shortcomings are, you recognize the things that you need to improve on, but you're also aware of how far you have come. Those are the things that make you a healthier, well-adjusted, well-balanced person going into the relationships that you want to be in. And also it allows you to enter into relationships with similarly well-adjusted people. A lot of times, if your perspective will blind you from getting into certain healthy spaces too. Cheryl says, it's good when we as people recognize our own triggers and start to work on them and not go into relationships knowing you're deficient. Damn right. But there are going to be some things that you are deficient in, and as long as you know what your deficiencies are, because like what Miss Creative just said right here, we're not perfect. No one is perfect, and perfection is delusion, or is a delusion. And at the same time, expecting perfection from the person that you're entering into, yeah, that's problematic in and of itself too. Nia says, not only set boundaries, but tell the person what the consequence is, so if they cross the boundary again, they know the outcome. Madam, that's some powerful shit. I don't know how many of y'all have children, but if you make an empty threat multiple times with a child, you're going to have a problem on your hands. And them little motherfuckers there will know that they can get away with murder. Small people, they are terrible. They are absolutely terrible people. Especially like if they're below, say, 8, 9, anything less than 8, they are just, because they will push some boundaries. But if you say, hey, if you do this, I'm going to be on your ass, and they do that, and you don't be on that ass, they'll remember that. The same thing applies to relationships. The exact same thing applies to relationships. The reason why you've established boundaries is because anything over that boundary will put you in a place that you're not comfortable being. It may be a physical boundary, like, hey, I don't want I don't want to do that. And if you set that boundary and they don't respect that, then what they're saying is, one, I don't respect you. And also what they're saying is, if by crossing that boundary, or what happens to you is that you, especially if you allow it, you don't feel worthy of having that boundary set. You said, hey, I don't like this. Hey, don't do that. And they did it anyway? Yeah, that's a problem. That's an absolute problem. Gerald said 1, 3, and 7. 1. Oh shit. Gerald said 1, 3, and 7. Number 1 is unfaithful. Number 3 is neglecting, rejecting, and unreliable. And number 7 is sexually withholding or rejecting. I appreciate your honesty, sir. 1, 3, and 7. My man. Oh shit. That's why I love y'all. I really do. Let's see. Miss Creative, she has a different what she said was, I say set the boundary and no need for warnings more according. But wait a minute though. Wait a minute. Whoa. Oh, I see what you're saying right there. All right, let's go back, right? What Nia said was this. Not only set boundaries, but tell the person what the consequence is, so if they cross the boundary again, they will know the outcome. And Miss Creative, she countered and said, hey, I say set the boundary and no need for warnings more accordingly. However, how can you have to give a person a chance to adapt, especially if you're in a new relationship. But let me see what Nia says. Sometimes you're dealing with a wounded inner child when you're dealing with unhealed adults. Exactly. Cheryl said, forget the expectation of what other people think you have to do, and do you always, no matter what costs. I agree with that to an extent. All right, y'all, I enjoyed this, man. This was a good show. Let's wrap this thing up. This man said 1, 3, and 7. Oh my God, y'all are silly as shit. Let's wrap this up. All right. Oh shit. Let me click this real quick. I think I've got to invest in a new laptop with this bullshit here. Next week. On the next episode of the CM Show, I mentioned it earlier. We're going to be talking about talk about next week. What is Italian, class? You said Nia asked the question, is this live always on Tuesday? Yes, they are. Let me see. Nope, I'll let you know you crossed my boundaries, and if you keep doing it, then I will move around and move that person out too. God damn. Tell you what, Miss Creative, you ain't about that bullshit. What is your Italian class? Are you teaching Italian? Are you cooking Italian? Are you learning Italian? I need to know. I'm just curious. Cheryl says, should we come dressed for the occasion? Yes, everybody next week wear black. How about that? Yeah. Yes. You're learning to speak Italian. That's gangster. All right, I'm being nosy now. Why? Are you going there, or is it just like a lifelong thing? What? But yeah, next week y'all wear black. Next week, when we're talking about kinks, what I would like, first of all, if you haven't subscribed to this channel, I definitely need for y'all to do that, okay? I am so close to my personal goal, and I want to have that goal before the end of the year. So if you haven't already subscribed to the channel, please do. All right. Yo, that was weird. Also, I referenced my books earlier. If you haven't already done so, pick up a copy of my books. Please, books 1 and books 2. That will be coming soon. Nia said I graduated in December, but yes, I wanted to learn Italian, so when I traveled to Italy, one of my bucket list places, I don't even call it a bucket list, I'm gonna go. Let me not say that though, because shit, and I'll touch on that in a second. I want to go to Venice. I want to go to Venice, not to see the water. I want to smell that city. Because I've always wondered, how does Venice smell with all that water? That's where I want to go. All right. Anyway, the reason why I said I just thought about it with the bucket list, y'all, if you haven't already heard Takeoff from the group the Migos, he was killed last night in a dice game of all things, right? This dude's a multi-millionaire, multi-platinum selling artist, but died and got basically caught astray because anyway. Tomorrow's not promised, y'all. And I appreciate what Nia is saying here. Just, you know, taking taking Italian. That is powerful, y'all. I'm gonna end with this. Life's not promised. If there's something you want to do, go do it. If there's a place you want to go. Live life. Live life to the fullest, y'all. You ain't got but one. Y'all have a good one. I will see y'all next week.